Once again, for those just tuning in, Otto Warmbier, the American student who went on a tour, well-meaning kid, believing that he'd find some fun and adventure in North Korea, was captured by the North Koreans, thrown in jail, given 15 years of hard time in jail, and apparently shortly after he began his jail term, became comatose somehow, has now died. He came back, and just a few days after his return from North Korea, he has passed away. Here now on the phone with us is Dr. Mark Siegel, a Fox News medical correspondent. Dr. Siegel, first of all, it's impossible to know what caused the coma to begin with. The doctors that we heard from last week told us that. Is there any way that we could be certain about what caused his death now?
Well, first of all, David, I think we have a pretty good idea what actually happened to him in North Korea, in the sense that the doctors at University of Cincinnati indicated that he stopped. It looked to them like he had stopped breathing and his heart had stopped beating, and he had insufficient blood flow to the brain, and his brain atrophied. Even though his eyes were open, his brain wasn't responding. And when he came here to the University of Cincinnati, they did a Sherlock Holmes routine on him, and they figured out that he really wasn't responding, meaning that he was not in a coma per se, but in a vegetative state, and he just wasn't aware of his surroundings. Now, what actually caused his death is impossible to know at this point, but I want to reassure your viewers that it wasn't any quality of life there. And whether he stopped breathing on his own, whether he had, they talked about him breathing on his own, whether he stopped breathing, or, exactly what caused his death, we won't know. But he wasn't living in any state of quality of life.
This was a young guy. Obviously, he was mistreated by the North Koreans. He was not treated well, but at the same time, he was young enough so that for his heart to stop long enough to put him in that vegetative state, whatever you want to call it, I would think it would have to be something serious that the North Koreans did to them. Any guess as to what that could have been?
David, great question. I believe from what the doctors at University of Cincinnati said, it was not botulism as claimed. That was ruled out by neurological testing. My best guess is that they gave him something that suppressed his breathing, some kind of agent, some kind of chemical or poison or something that suppressed his breathing. I know I'm speculating, but that seems most likely in this situation, because they took a close look at his heart and there wasn't anything structurally wrong with it. Something was given to him.
Is it possible, now that so sadly he has passed, that they'll be able to figure it out?
That's an excellent question. Actually, Melissa, they will be able to take a closer look than they were able to while he was still alive. They certainly can look at his lungs and look at the lung tissue and see what caused the stoppage of breathing.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be something.
We may never know exactly, but we have an idea that it wasn't head trauma either, by the way. The brain atrophied, meaning that he got insufficient oxygen to the brain. It wasn't that they hit him in the head. That wasn't what it was. It was something that caused his breathing to stop.
You made the point before that there was so much damage that he was not, even though he wasn't technically in a coma, he was not responsive. There wasn't a lot of hope for improvement.
No, I don't. Exactly right, and that's what I said after the press conference. I didn't feel that we don't know exactly what happened today, whether care was withdrawn or whether this was just him stopping breathing on his own. We don't know, but what we do know is that he had no quality of life.